I'd like to call Independent School District 721 to order. Janelle, please note that all board members are here except for Matt. He is out this time, so let's stand for the pledge. Any open forum? Thank you. Okay. Motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carry is 6-0. Motion for consent agenda.
So move. Second.
Thank you. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 6-0. All right. Board committee reports. Policy committee.
No update.
Southwest Metro.
Southwest Metro had their monthly meeting last Tuesday. It was a good meeting. We had reports from the different program directors. The programs are going well. Different programs are doing different types of meeting with the children, virtual or face-to-face or whatever. It depends really on the program that is in place, and also the needs of the children too. Getting some kids that are fragile or some kids that have some real special needs, changing for them is not a very good idea. Change is hard for some of the kids. So even though we'd like to go face-to-face in more of the programs, some of the needs of the children prevents us from doing that. We had a very good financial report given to us. We're in good shape as far as our finances are concerned. We do have to make some cuts, but we're aiming for about a 10% budget surplus. So that's what our goal is, and I think we'll be able to do it. And then our next meeting will be held at the Dean Lakes facility. It's coming along very nicely as far as being retrofitted for our program. And we'll actually meet about a half an hour before the meeting time starts, and we'll take a tour of the facility. And a really neat thing about that facility is the fact that it's going to be a multi-use type of a facility. We were doing renting. We were, renting space to accommodate some of our programs. Now we're going to be just the opposite. We're actually going to be the ones that will be renting out to other programs that will probably be housed in that facility. So it's kind of a nice turnaround, and I think it's going to be a very, very good facility for us.
Good. All right. Special ed?
No CPAC meeting.
Okay. Community ed.
Community Ed met last week. Nothing really new. Just a lot of talk about virtual classes, and they do have swimming lessons, I guess, are going really well. A new catalog will be coming out either end of March or early April here.
Great. Wellness?
No.
Early childhood?
No meeting.
Fitness and aquatic? No?
Matt does that.
Eh. All right. We are to superintendent's good news.
Okay, I'll start out by exciting news this past weekend. We've got our wrestling team finished second in the section to the defending state champion Shakopee in the large school class. But we had 6 kids that have qualified for state, so I want to congratulate them. At 126, Corey Biskins, 132, Colton Bornholt, 145, Nick Novak, 152, Joey Novak, and at 220 pounds, Evan Anderson. So we want to wish them the best. Thursday, they begin wrestling at St. Michael Albertville. And gymnastics, a wonderful team win. They won the section, and we are in the big class there also. So schools include Lakeville North, who has won some state titles recently. Lakeville South, Eden Prairie, Prior Lake, some of the biggest schools in the state. So they won the, like I said, the team title. And we also have, they'll be competing this Saturday. I think the individuals and team go at the same time. But the individuals that qualified too were Sammy Solheide. She qualified in the all-round, vault, bars, beam, and floor. Allie Morris qualified in the floor and the bars. Allie Eichens in the beam. And Ella Barsness in the floor. So pretty neat. Both teams did very well wrestling and gymnastics, and we want to wish them the best of luck. So pretty neat thing, and we'll find out what happens this weekend. But it looks like we've got a very good chance to compete for some state titles. Second thing I want to talk about is vaccinations. We've got about 125 staff members, but of that 125, about 85 are teachers that are getting their second vaccination this Wednesday, March 24th. So that's the reason we're going to Distance Learning Day on Thursday, March 25th. And I know there's, myself included, sort of last on the list. We're getting vaccinations on Friday from LeSueur County for probably about 30 staff members, like I said, including myself. We're pretty much, maybe next week there might be about 30 to 40 staff members still that need their second vaccination, but I think we're pretty much complete with our staff. Anyone that wanted to get their vaccinations are going to get them done. So probably after this week too, probably well over half our staff members, well, actually a lot of them will have their vaccinations plus the 2 weeks, so they won't ever have to do a 90-day quarantine. So we're getting there, and I'll talk a little bit more about that on my COVID update in a second here. The other thing, talking to our principals at the middle school and high school level, we're on our third week of full-time in-person, and definitely notice the kids are doing much better mentally, but also academically. They're seeing more student success in that thing going full-time in person, so we're happy about that. And finally, I got Tony Boothie will briefly talk about where we're at with our strategic plan. We had our first meeting just a little less than 2 weeks ago, and we have our second meeting scheduled for this Wednesday. But we got a good group of people on the strategic plan task force, along with some community members that have chipped in. So, Tony, if you want to just give a brief update on that.
Yes, so district strategic planning, as Tim said, Ray Queener is the presenter for us, and he was here last Wednesday. We met in the middle school auditorium or gymnasium, and that was a nice big area. We have 26 school officials who are meeting regularly with the strategic plan, and also we had 7 community members, former teachers, retired, some still teaching, but all in the community aspect. So we had approximately 35 people. There was a lot of great information. That really was a story wall of the district, gathering lots of history. That was the first session. This Wednesday, it is an environmental scan, is what that's called, and that's a desired daily experience. So we're going to talk about what does a desired daily experience look like in the school district. On April 12th is a real big day for us. That is where Ray will come down and meet with students from both the middle school and the high school during the day. After school, we will have teachers from all of our buildings, and he will meet with them. We will send out a survey also, and then in the evening, we will have parents. I believe you have a school board meeting, and we will be down in the downstairs in the community room, and we'll have those parents. We'll have students, teachers, and parents all on April 12th, and that will be just a large collection of information for Ray, and that's really a big piece of the strategic plan, is to make sure that students, educators, and of course parents are helping to drive that strategic plan, as will the board towards the end. So as Tim said, 26 school officials, 7 community members. They will be done after the second meeting. Then it will just be down to the 26 as we were just trying to gather the historical information from them. But it went very well. We're looking forward to the meeting on Wednesday. And then April 12th, we take May off. We have a full day in June, take August off, July and August, and then we come back in September. And then we get the ball rolling, and then around the November time is when the school board will be involved. So very important and lots of information is going out. I will send the information, the notes from the last meeting, and then I will continue to send you the notes from every meeting thereafter. And any questions that you have during the school board meetings, we can answer them at that time. Any questions on district strategic planning process?
Thanks, Tony.
Okay. Anything else?
Yep.
Perfect. All right, so are we to approval of health insurance bid?
Good evening. Every 2 years, as a school district, we are required to go out and get a health insurance bid. It's called the Health Insurance Transparency Act that was, probably passed maybe 8 years ago. Time goes really fast. We are self-insured, and so basically what we go out to bid for is who is going to administer our plan. Right now, it's Medica. So they have an admin fee to process all of our claims. Then there's a stop-loss premium, both for specific, so anything over $150,000 per claim is paid for by with a stop-loss insurance. We also have an aggregate stop-loss, where if we go over our if we go to our worst-case scenario and our claims hit over a certain amount, then that kicks in to pay, so we wouldn't bankrupt the plan. So we went out in January, and we received proposals from Medica, Health Partners, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Minnesota, United Healthcare, and Preferred One. The teachers are involved in the process in the fact that they're present when the bids are opened. They receive copies of the bids. Then we open the bids, and then Arthur J. Gallagher, who is our benefits administrator, they contact them for a best and final offer, and then they bring that information back to our benefit committee, and then we decide, what carrier to go with, and also how much to increase our premiums. So Medica offered the most attractive proposal, both in the administrative fee. And we were actually able to lower our fixed costs by 8.5% over a 2-year period. And they also provide the highest claim discount percentage on their networks. So when you have a third-party administrator, you also use their network. So Medica has their own network. Preferred One would have their own network. So they do an analysis where they say, how deep of a discount does each offer? And Medica offered the deepest discounts. So we saved approximately $70,000 with Medica over the other bids. So we did decide to go with them. Then separately, what we do is we look at where should the premium levels be set. So we have a budget of what we think our revenue is going to be. We have a budget with where we think our expenses are going to come in, basically our claims costs and our fixed costs. And based on, what underwriters are projecting, what our current fund balance is in that account, and so forth, we decide as a committee where to go with a premium increase. We did end the year last year with a $1.3 million fund balance in that. We like it to see at least 4 months, which would be $2.3 million, but we haven't been self-funded that long. Last year, it increased so much because of COVID. If you remember, basically all unnecessary medical procedures were canceled. So we had, half of March, April, May, and June with very little medical claims. And this year, we're above our budget because then starting in July, things started to open up and then people started to do their doctors and their procedures and so forth. So it's kind of a unique 2-year period. We also had quite a bit of expense related to COVID, the testing, as well as some hospitalization and some doctor's visits for COVID. So that also added some, about $100,000 in claims. Testing is very expensive, actually. And our plan paid that. Even though some of the testing was done through the state, they still ask for insurance, and your insurance pays for it. And if you don't have insurance, then the state pays for it. So it's a little bit misleading. So anyway, so we have decided on a funding increase of 5% over our current. We costed out 4.5, 5, 5.5. And, we didn't want to go too high or too low. We'd like to add a little bit of fund balance every year. And we hope that this will allow us to, we hope next year things will kind of even out. And it could be more of a normal year for claims. So just need your approval tonight on staying with Medica. Per the HIT-A-Bid, you do not have to approve the 5% premium increase. Just basically that the Medica is what we're choosing for our HIT-A-Bid. Any questions or comments?
Questions? Okay, so can I have a motion to continue with Medica for our HIT-A-Bid for the insurance?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Em, are you talking about this?
Oh, God, I'm one ahead. Sorry about that.
One ahead.
I
yeah.
was thinking COVID. I have COVID on the brain, I think. Sorry about that. Yes, we need the calendar approved again for, I believe this is the 10th time now. This accounts for this Thursday's distance learning day, and the early release is beginning this Wednesday to, I think May 19th is the last date we're doing it. And the reason we're doing that is for teacher planning, since we've got in-person teaching going on, but also the number of students that are in quarantine. Being in person, we're going to have more students in quarantine. And not to mention, we have distance learning kids that need to be taught by our teachers too, that at the secondary level. So those are the changes, and I need approval.
I move we approve the calendar.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0.
All right. I am looking forward to the day when I'm not giving a COVID update, but I'm giving you a COVID update.
I would agree.
All right, just some data here again, and I said this 2 weeks ago at our work session, but again, we haven't had a positive COVID case for a staff member since February 8th. We've done saliva testing 5 different times. That's every 2 weeks, so over a 10-week period, a total of 270 saliva tests, and we've only had 3 positive cases. In fact, the last 3 times we've done it, there have been no positive saliva tests. So that's a good thing, obviously. So that's on the staff side. Here you can see by county and zip code, and you can see the last 3 weeks really starting to edge up a little bit. If you read the paper at all, Star Tribune's been talking about that, especially in Carver. We know the UK variant's been there, and also in part of Scott County. So that is some concern to us. We're closely watching the numbers now. On the positive side, though, is the vaccinations. As you know, now it's getting close to 80% of all seniors and people with underlying health conditions getting vaccinated, like I said, with educators. All of our teachers and support staff, whether it be bus drivers, nutrition, paraprofessionals, getting their vaccination helps. But there is a spread that's increasing, and it's with our younger kids. Just, the number of positive cases where we're at right now. Now, this is it's a 10-day period, and some of these go off in the next day or so. So this is like a day. This is where we're at right now, going in tomorrow. You can see the enrollment on the bottom. So if you really take the percent, the number of kids in the buildings, it's very low with positive cases. The thing we knew was going to happen at the secondary level, when the positive cases, when you have a positive case through contract tracing, kids end up being put in quarantine, or classes do. So that becomes a challenge, and that's why I said we needed more preparation time by having those Wednesday early releases for it. But I will say this, when you got at the high school, surprisingly, percentage-wise has got the lowest number of students in quarantine or positive cases right now. And it's pretty steady. You can see the numbers. And like I say, there's, I think, a class coming back in a day, another one in 2 days at the elementary. So it does change. Today is sort of a high day right now because we get cases that were found that were tested positive over the weekend. And so we picked up a few positive cases today, but we're just, as we're going through this, I think it's good to share this data with you. So, yeah, as you can see. Any questions? So again, this is not like positive cases that happen today, but it's over a 10-day period. And actually, the quarantine is over a 14-day period, too.
Has there been any talk on changing the regulations behind quarantine or not?
No, not really. No, I think the biggest change that could happen is I don't know if you've read about this in the past week. The CDC is saying that 3-foot distancing is enough in the classrooms now. I know 60 Minutes ran a big special on that last night. The state has not changed it. They've kept it at 6 feet. So through the course of the year, there's been changes on some of the guidelines at the national level. Minnesota usually waits. And I think they're waiting right now because of if the spread wasn't going up with our younger people, I think they would go to 3 feet. But that's just my opinion. But I think at some point they will. And what's interesting for us, our numbers of quarantine have gone up. It's because the high school and middle school are in person, and a lot of the classes you can't separate. You can't be 6 feet apart. But actually, the number of positive cases that we've had, and when we look at those positive cases, those aren't things that have been really internal, but they've been external. And they've been cases outside the school, but there's students that are not in school right now with us. Does that make sense?
For what it's worth, I've heard from a few parents, a couple students, that what the teachers are doing for distancing for the athletes is very much appreciated, and I've heard it a couple different times, or if somebody had a concern, the teacher made the effort to stick them in a corner to make sure they had the distance and stuff.
That's good to hear, Leo. I know, I will say that, talking to Nicole Adams and Tom Wetchka, assistant principal and principal at the high school, I know they've worked very hard. Brad Skogerbo, too, working with these kids, and the teachers have been wonderful. To keep them, and it sometimes gets a little tricky, but the kids also have been a very good self-advocate for themselves too. The teachers have been great. That's good to hear that. I've heard the same thing.
Well, let's just hope that the numbers level or go down, no increasing.
Well, let's just get to spring break. We got
Exactly.
3 in-person days and 1 distance learning day. Just get to spring break, and I'll be happy. And yeah, again, as of right now, I'm sure this won't be my last COVID update.
It won't be our last
Last one
calendar
today.
change either.
Yeah.
Okay, I need a motion to go into closed session based on Minnesota statute 13D.03.
I'll make a motion that we go into closed session for the purpose of negotiations, after which we will adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.